Jiro here for Umbra Games with a review of the SteamWorld Collection, including SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Heist, released on one physical disc for PS4 and Wii U, played on PS4 for this review. You can get both games digitally on a variety of platforms as well. And these SteamWorld games are developed by Swedish game developer Image & Form Games, and the first one in the series was SteamWorld Tower Defense, released on what appears to be exclusively on the old Nintendo DSiWare store. One thing I've been impressed with in this series is the complete jump in different genres through the first three games. SteamWorld Tower Defense obviously being a tower defense game, SteamWorld Dig is a 2D platformer where you dig through the depths and explore caves in real time, and SteamWorld Heist is a turn-based strategy role-playing game, played from a side-scrolling perspective as well, with a skill element involved there too. There is a fourth game in the series, which is SteamWorld Dig 2, released in September of 2017, currently only available digitally on most modern platforms. Now, let's get a little deeper into SteamWorld Dig first. Dig puts you in the bolts of Rusty, a Steambot, an android that functions on steam power, as he arrives at a small, western-looking town where underneath lies the mine he inherited from his uncle. Rusty takes it upon himself to excavate the gems that remain in the mine, but also starts to uncover bits of technology foreign to the local Steambot population, leaving him to wonder exactly what his Uncle Joe was up to. Rusty starts with a pickaxe and can run, jump, and swing said pickaxe to remove dirt and rock blocks, and also kill aggressive denizens he encounters. There are a variety of terrain types, as you can see on the mini-map in the upper right corner, has an icon that shows you how many strikes it takes with your equipped weapon to break through a basic block. Some blocks have precious gems inside and will take more strikes to break. Gems get added to your inventory slots at the bottom of the screen, and you can take them topside to the trader and earn cash, which can be used to buy upgrades from the local vendors. Turning in gems also levels up the town, providing more goods available for purchase. Now, the bulk of the game takes place in a central mine shaft divided into a few different environment types. Each environment has story progression caves labeled with signs, and also random caves which provide small puzzles that can be completed for big gems, as well as the game's second currency, orbs. As you delve deeper into the depths, you'll encounter new obstacles that keep you on your toes about which blocks to mine, starting with the fact that you can't jump and swing your pickaxe, so taking out too many blocks in a downward fashion can make it hard to get a horizontal pathway. There are blocks that will fall and crush anything underneath them, spike traps, and pools of poison that have to be watched and avoided. While your initial spelunks will be regulated by how many gems you can hold in your inventory, forcing you to go and trade, as you get deeper and more inventory space, the limitation changes to the amount of light Rusty produces, with the halo around him slowly reducing as more time is spent. The light meter is nearly instantly refilled with the trip to the surface. Water is a secondary resource necessary to power some of Rusty's abilities and equipment that can be filled by finding pools of water underground. Enemies also have a chance to drop light, water, or life as they're slaughtered. If Rusty's light goes out, you'll have a bit of trouble navigating, especially if there are some traps around. If you do manage to run out of life, you'll lose 50% of your cash on hand and start back at the surface. There are teleporters you can find, which seemed about one per strata, and you can also use your orb currency to purchase and place them where you see fit. Now, my playtime for my one and only run was 6 hours. I reached max level and gathered every possible resource and purchased every available upgrade. The game does track a few stats and gives you a star if you meet specific criteria upon completion. These games don't have platinum trophies, though. There's a bit of Metroid-style vibe to the game, requiring gear and abilities to access new areas, some story progression, and also give you access to secret areas. The game also has mission-based progression, though, giving you quests that provide markers on the minimap to give you direction. While it does involve some RPG elements, I'm more apt to place this in the 2D open-world item mission-based progression genre. Rated as such, SteamWorld Dig receives a 74 out of 100 on a true 1 to 100 scale, with 50 being an average game. Next we'll hit SteamWorld Heist. Once again, we're playing Steambots, but this time in space. A rogue faction of Steambots called Scrappers are terrorizing the galaxy, and Piper Faraday sets out to solve the galaxy's problems and recruit friends to help her along the way. You take control of Piper and her ship and navigate from destination to destination, engaging in turn-based combat. As you begin a level, you'll have an animation of your ship docking with its destination, and will initially place each member in a starting position. Missions vary in size, with single character all the way up to 4 at a time. You'll have an objective to complete, like eradicating all or specific enemies, gather swag, or reach a specific destination. Play goes in cycles with a player phase and then an enemy phase, and ends up feeling a lot like a side-scrolling XCOM. Characters can move within the orange range, and if they stop at that point, they can take an action, like firing their weapon or using an ability. If they want to move further, they can sprint for the rest of their turn, moving the additional blue spaces. Firing does require a bit of skill, as you actually have to point your character's firearm when you choose to attack. They'll have a natural movement up and down that is asymmetrical, so you have to time it just right to make the shot you want. Once each player character has taken their turn, if there are any enemies that have been seen or that have entered the stage via alarm, then they will take their turn at that point. Throughout the stage, you'll find half cover boxes or barrels knocked over or full cover obstacles. Any character, enemy, or friendly can take cover behind an object, and when they fire their weapon, the cover will be treated like it isn't there. Otherwise, these pieces of destructible cover will lose hit points until they're destroyed. Now, if a friendly takes cover behind an object, on the opposite side an enemy is, or vice versa, they'll have easy point-blank access to them. They're both solid and non-collision ground types in each map, allowing you to possibly take shots to different levels. Doors often connect to other parts of the level, and the area behind that door and its enemies will be totally blacked out until you breach. Your team will be comprised of characters in a variety of classes. Piper's Captain class, for example, uses handguns and sniper weapons, and gains abilities that help the team, like buffing attack power or an area of effect heal. Seabrass, for example, is a vanguard that uses assault weapons like Uzis and shotguns, has a mend ability that will recover some HP on the following turn if he takes damage, as well as a passive ability called Payback that increases the power of his next attack if he sustains damage. Characters gain experience by participating in the level and surviving. Every character can be leveled to 10, gaining abilities, health, and movement bonuses as they progress. Characters can equip a weapon and 2 accessories that range in bonuses from movement distance, to range combat damage increases, to bonus melee damage. The 4th equipment slot is for hats, which act only aesthetically. While in combat, if you aim at an enemy's head, it's possible to knock their hat off and collect it, then you can wear it the next round. You can also find boutiques in the game's areas selling special ones. The game's currency is gallons of water, which can be spent at various shops to increase inventory space, new weapons, or accessories, or the hats I mentioned. You gain water from picking up swag in levels, or selling things you don't need anymore to clear up that precious inventory space. Weapons do a fairly decent job of having you yearn for that next upgrade, or sometimes sacrifice it for a special bonus your current weapon might have. Piper, for example, has access to the sniper pistols with what's called a long-range laser sight. These give 1 more damage than other pistols of the same tier, lets you easily see where your shot's gonna go after bouncing and ricocheting all over the place, but she can't shoot after moving. One pistol with way lower damage has a 50% chance to stun. A shotgun with a wider spread can penetrate enemies and hit targets behind them, but aren't very accurate, so you gotta make these trade-off choices. Now, if all party members die in a level or you choose to abandon the mission, in the casual and above difficulties you will lose 50% of your water supply. Upon successful completion of levels, you can open the bags and chests of swag you found, and you're awarded with reputation in the form of stars. Levels have 1 to 4 stars available, and stages can be retried if you don't find the epic loot, which gives a star, or if you lost a teammate, which even if you did everything else correctly, you'll automatically be deducted the 1 reputation. The reputation stars are required to open new areas of the map, and some items and shops are locked behind certain reputation thresholds as well. You can replay levels at any point, either to grind some experience and water, or work on the reputation stars, but you only get the rewards from collecting the epic loot once. You can also change the difficulty from a range of 5 options on a per mission basis if you need more or less of a challenge. SteamWorld Heist, like Dig, has 3 different areas in total, varying up the enemies and some of the strategies you have to take to defeat them. Overall, the game took about 12 hours to get through, and similar to Dig, it awards you stars for meeting particular criteria on a playthrough. This helps try and squeeze a little bit of replay value out of it. Also, each time you enter a level in Heist, it will be slightly changed with a bit of random generation, which helps the replay value as well. Graphically, both games have a fresh presentation with some pretty fun character designs. In Heist, the backgrounds and ships do get a bit repetitive looking, but that's a sacrifice I'm okay for the amount of content that's here. The music fits well for both games, and overall, just the production values in general are way up there. Rated as a 2D side-scrolling strategy RPG, SteamWorld Heist hits a 75 out of 100 on my 1 to 100 scale. This is Chiro from Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here or follow me on Twitter for new video notifications.